we've got Luke Krieg is one of our specialists. He's got 10 years of experience, I think it is, Luke, in the commercialisation space in the university sector, and he now leads IBM Garage methodology for us. Chris mentioned it earlier. I believe we've got a little video to start with, Luke. Yep. Excellent. Thank you for joining us.
I think you do. How you work today defines your tomorrow. IBM Garage is built for imagination, innovation, speed, impact, scale. It's not a one-and-done seminar with useless pamphlets you grab on the way to lunch. It's a culture-changing, come up with 100 user-centric ideas and mine the best one, then build it, break it, solution it, measure it from start to finish, market it, make it better, make it stick, take it worldwide kind of framework. You experiment, learn, then build it fast with hybrid cloud and AI. Work at the speed of a startup, at the scale of your enterprise, and take the market share that's rightfully yours. IBM Garage, where innovation and transformation come together.
Wow, what an introduction. Right, you've seen the glossy and shiny video in a stunning American accent. It's now time to switch to Kiwiese and get a bit more down to earth. I'm here to tell you about the Garage methodology. Chris has alluded to it already in his address to you, and that it is the methodology that we're planning to use here at the Emerging Technologies Hub to deliver on some of these innovations and technologies that you've seen here today. So I'll walk you through it, but I do encourage you, if someone has a question, capture the attention of the roaming mic and ask it during the presentation, all right? I don't want to just, I want you to take this opportunity to ask some questions. Right. So why did IBM come up with Garage? The Garage methodology was a result of all of these cutting edge technologies that we're seeing in the market having to have an impact, a business impact. And often there are challenges such as just identifying what you might want to do with this and what you might want to prioritize, what is an existential threat versus what is a nice to have. And second is, well, okay, we've decided we know what we want to do, but now how do we do it? There's a lot of organizational change involved in some of this. You know, we can't place a huge upfront investment in this. We need to do this at the right pace. And so Garage tries to have real speed to value incrementally on the things that are most valuable to your organization. And Forrester has done some research on this. It really works. On the case studies analyzed, we had significantly more ideas of what you might want to do for your business. We had much faster outcomes and very attractive returns on investment on these kind of initiatives. So, you know, whether you spot the dog, whether you use artificial intelligence with Internet of Things sensors, whether you're looking at digital transformations, whether you're looking at using chatbots and AI, all of this falls under this remit. And what is it? You know, what is Garage? What do you get with it? It's three things. So it's a way of working, it's a set of practices, and a suite of tools that we've evolved over time to make this hum. And a lot of these use familiar buzzwords. So we haven't reinvented the wheel. We've been magpies and have stolen the best things from around the place. We use agile, scaled agile principles. We use DevSecOps. We use human-centered design. And so the ways of working sound very much like scaled agile. We want blended teams, not just a project team that's flown in, that does something, that finishes, wraps up and goes home and throws everything over the fence. No, we try to work with third parties, with the university, with people inside your business to deliver these projects. And also it is a way of working that relentlessly prioritizes the delivery of value. In other words, we understand how what you're planning to do delivers value to your business. having Spot the Dog doesn't deliver any value, but if Spot the Dog manages to reduce the risk to human life, if Spot the Dog manages to reduce the people hours spent on a task, etc., then we know what it is and we can see how well we're doing against that. So it's also a very transparent way of working. The practices we use, human-centered design to make sure we develop things that people want to use, that are desirable, but that are also technically viable and that in the end make business sense. And for that, we use hypothesis-driven development. In other words, all the things that we work on have a stated hypothesis of how they'll deliver the value, which is then proved out over time. And the suite of tools, again, a lot of these will be familiar. Our opportunity canvas is like a business model canvas, but we've also got dashboards, we use service blueprints, and we've got a whole micro-credentialing system, garage badging, that allows you to absorb and take home these capabilities for yourself. It all starts with a framing session. This is a session where we bring together both third-party experts, IBM practitioners, and people from your organization to just set the scene of why you want to go down this track. We outline the methodology, and we have an interactive design thinking set of activities that end up prioritizing where you might want to go with your business, what technologies or initiatives might be of greatest interest and why. And that then lets you decide whether you want to continue on or not. Now, I'll just pause for questions. Does anyone want to ask a question at this point? No? All right.
Silence.
I'll carry on.
Keep going.
Stunned silence. I'll keep going, but yeah, please. I don't want to bore you to tears. If someone is falling asleep, just let me know. I'll stop. But so continuing on means you can go through these three phases. We call them co-create, co-execute, and cooperate. And essentially, co-create is, okay, you've told us where to look. Now let's go looking and explore a large number of ideas that we then narrow down for actual building out into a minimum viable product in co-execute. So at the end of co-execute, you've actually got something in market that's delivering on some of those on some of the value that you're chasing. And then in cooperate, we're just honing that, scaling it, and optimizing that in terms of efficiencies. And so each of these phases have their own tools under them. A key bit is the golden thread, which is kind of a halfway mark between a journey map and a service blueprint, but it just makes very real to stakeholders and users what the solutions we're coming up with might look like without us having to build them yet. Now, they're a bit like a paper prototype, if you will, and that lets people just imagine or reimagine how some of the things you're already doing might be done better, or how some of the new things you might want to try and do will look like. We've got this thing called value orchestration, which is the finances or the financial analysis behind all of this. So we look at your organizational objectives and measurement frameworks, whether that's a triple bottom line or just shareholder value, and we break that down into what a technology might deliver. Is it going to save you OPEX? Is it going to increase revenue? Is it going to increase revenue through market growth, or is it going to increase revenue through new products, etc.? So that's in there. And the financial model lets you constantly update how we're tracking against that. And the dashboards that we use aren't restricted to that. So outcomes are probably the most important thing in our dashboards to a lot of stakeholders, but just as important are things like the employee capability and experience while they're working in this way. In other words, we keep track of how people are liking this way of working. And if they're not thriving under it, we adapt it, we improve it. We also look at technical debt. We look at the amount of technical debt that you're either avoiding or incurring through this. And of course, we keep an eye on velocity. Someone's always keen on knowing how many story points get delivered in every one sprint. So we've got that there as well. The most important thing is this is very scalable, right? We can have just a single squad of a few key individuals. Like I said, we like mixed teams of your own staff that know your market, that know your existing processes, that know your existing core strengths. We combine it with third-party expertise, specifically in the areas you're pursuing. So a Federation University is ideally placed here at the Emerging Technologies Hub, and our own practitioners that are familiar with this way of doing things. If it's just one
Luke,
squad,
sorry,
yes,
can
go.
I interrupt you for 1 second because
Please.
you're too much monologue now. I'm sorry, I'm slow. Could you go back one slide or
Sure.
2 slides where you talked about the value tree?
Yes.
I was very interested in understanding how you actually get here, because it seems like you have an assumption that everybody knows what is value. How do you actually decide on that? Because I thought that is always a very difficult one to actually get to the bottom of.
So you decide what value is. And for instance, I've worked both in the public and private sectors. In the public sector, you often have a statement of intent and a scorecard that you're measured against. So if you're a transport agency, you might be looking at number of deaths on the roads, cost of delivering infrastructure, access for people to the transport system, net emissions, etc. So you've got a balanced scorecard. Now, Treasury in New Zealand, and I suspect Australian Treasury is the same, has a fairly reductionist view, and that all of this can be measured and turned into dollar amounts. There is the Treasury CBAX tool we've got here, which gives you a lookup table. A friendship, if your initiative creates one new friendship, that's worth $500. A life, it's about 8 million New Zealand dollars. There you go. It's not one I subscribe to, but if that's what you're beholden to, we'll use that. Otherwise, if you've got a triple bottom line, so you've got shareholder returns, that's essentially, money in minus money out, then we break that down in the next layer of your value tree. So shareholder returns over here. Then in here, we look at, well, what is your expenditures? What is your revenue sources? And we break that down even further. So OPEX is usually, staff costs, it's licensing fees, it might be rentals. It all depends on your industry. And we've got a huge library of what these value trees look like for different industries and different organizations. So in the financial sector, public utilities, education, legal, all of these, we've got detailed breakdowns that we can use to start off with. And I just attended a demo where we're eating our own dog food last night, where we've mined the value trees from past initiatives, and we can just say, here's what we know about the organization we're working with. Give us a value tree based on previous value trees that is most likely to represent their situation. So that's what I mean with value tree. Does that answer your question?
Thank you, Luke. Yeah, that clarifies it. Maybe one follow-up question is sustainability and future values. Is that part of the whole thinking as well?
Yes, absolutely. So like I said, I don't subscribe to the reductionist approach of turning an emission into a dollar value. So if one of your objectives is the reduction of emissions, social impacts or whatever, we start with that at the top of the value tree and just break down the drivers that might affect that. And I guess it does tie in with the slide that I was on over here, which says that your enterprise has a set of outcomes, priorities, a value framework. We're not here to change that. We're here to take that, that's your outcomes framework, your value framework, and our interface plugs that into the work that is going to be done over at that side. If it's a single initiative, the squad is the interface. There's no need to put an overhead on top. But if you're starting to get multiple squads developing things over different parts of those three phases, then you do need to keep track of that and maintain alignment. Great question, thank you. Any more?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that question.
Luke, the question is, how scalable is this?
Yes, like I said, from one squad of a couple of people to, gosh, I don't know how many we've got at Woodside, but yeah, dozens of squads at other organisations. So as big as you want, as small as you need.
I think we do have one final question from Michael Poulton. Is that correct?
Unfortunately, your
Luke,
voice is loud enough. It just doesn't come through the IT.
My question, Luke, is if I'm a company and I want to come and use the systems that I'm really impressed by from what you've just displayed today, what do I need to start the conversation with you about how we might apply this in my business?
Yeah, great. Come to the Emerging Technologies Hub, set up a framing session. There's also plenty of information in this room. Elizabeth, can you put your hand in the air and wave it around like you care? Wonderful. Elizabeth is here to help you out. We've got an interactive demo. You can ask some questions of her. You can reach out to Chris. And ultimately, we've also got publicly available badging, kind of micro credentials in each of these disciplines. So you can, I can, get you the link. You can explore the methodology yourself if you're interested.
Okay, I think, do I need an idea to start?
You need, so we've believed that you need some level of C-suite buy-in to the idea of needing to go and investigate these ideas. Without that, it's going to be hard yakka, right? So once you've got that, we can take it from there. We will ask the right questions and drive it forward from there. Ultimately, ultimately, it's that buy-in. Without that buy-in throughout, we can't progress.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Sorry, just Justin, Luke, just a quick follow-up on that. The framing session is only like 2 or 3 hours or something like that, right? So it's a quick way of getting that idea, validating it, understanding the value of it, and whether we should progress with it or not, right? So there's a lot more to this method that gets, the big things out the door and continuous and value. But what I'd say to people here, if you've got a certain idea that your business is thinking about going ahead with, the framing sessions can help you really bring that to life. And okay, thanks, Luke.
No worries, my pleasure.